Hey guys, welcome to or back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brianna and I'm glad to have you here. And if you're coming back from a previous video, then thank you so much for coming back. So as you can see by the title of this video, this is going to be like a little back to school themed video still, but it's kind of going to be a little sit down video with me today talking all about college roommates. So for most people going into college, it's their first time living with someone, like sharing the same room with someone, at least someone who's not family. I mean, a lot of siblings share rooms throughout childhood, but normally during college, this is your first time living with someone who you don't really know as well and who's not family and you're not super close with. And so I'm here to talk to you guys today all about living with someone and living with a college roommate for the first time. This is kind of just going to be a little girl talk video, just telling you guys my honest opinion. I don't really have like a set thing that I want to say for this, but kind of just sharing you guys my opinion on roommates and college and living with someone for the first time and all the things that you kind of just don't think of and get so caught up in college and being best friends with your roommate and things like that, that you kind of don't think of these things. So here I am, giving you advice for things that you don't think about. So if that's something that you want to know more about or need help with, then go ahead and continue watching this video. This video is for you. So to be honest, not to scare anyone if it's your freshman year of college that you're gonna go ahead and start into in the fall in August, but I did not have the best experience with college roommates so far. I will talk more about my personal experiences at the end of this video, but for right now I'm just sticking to giving you guys advice. So starting off, going into college, most people are super excited to go into college, super excited to have a roommate, super excited to have more freedom and just be at school, be maybe a little bit away from home, just like start learning things that you're actually interested in. It's your first time kind of living away from home and most people are really excited. I know I was super excited my freshman year of college to go ahead and live with someone and just like have the college experience, but it does come with its downfalls and a lot of people don't talk about that, which is why I'm here, because I kind of wish I had this advice given to me before I went into college, just to make everything a lot easier and make more sense and just be more emotionally stable and everything like that, because that was something I was not very good at when I was away at college for my first semester. So with picking a college roommate, most people pick college roommates on Facebook and like the Facebook group of your school for your specific dorm or hall or any area that you guys are going to be living in, and a lot of people just pick roommates based off of that, and that is how I found my roommate, and that's how I know most of my friends found their roommates. If you are going to a school that has a lot of people that you know from your high school are going to your school, especially like even if your best friend is going to go ahead and go to that school and you're also going to that school, I would, as hard as it sounds and as hard as it is, I would recommend not living with them. So this is a little kind of like pre-roommate advice, because if you know someone who goes to that school and they're like your best friend, or you just like them a lot and they're from high school, or you just know them, I would recommend not living with them, just because that expands your friend group even more. So I know one of my suite mates freshman year of college, she and her best friend were both going to the same college, but they did not room together. They both chose to kind of get random roommates, and they lived literally a floor apart. They still hung out all the time, but they made friends with their suite mates, their roommates, things like that, that were apart from each other, and then those groups kind of combined and we all kind of hung out sometimes, and that was really good. And I thought that was really good of them not to kind of room with each other, even though they were basically best friends and would probably have a good experience living together. I think they live together now, but honestly I think it's a good idea freshman year of college to not live with someone that you already know, just to kind of expand and broaden your friend group, and you guys can combine your friend groups and combine people that you meet, and you will have even more friends, rather than if you guys kind of just stuck together and were only with each other and only paid attention and hung out with each other. This way you guys have more of a chance to make more friends and just meet more people in college. So that would be my first piece of advice. I would recommend not living with someone that you previously know, or at least someone that you're not super close with, just to kind of expand friend groups and have more friends in college. But now getting into actual roommate situations and everything like that going into college, I know most people, including myself and most of my friends, were super excited to go into college college and basically be best friends with our roommates. So this is kind of a common thing that most girls, I feel like, I don't know about guys really for the most part, but I know most girls are really excited to kind of be best friends with their roommates in college and just do everything together and be best friends. And not gonna lie, maybe for some people this works, but to be honest, about 90% of the time it does not work. It didn't work with me. It didn't work with any of my friends. Not to say that we all had horrible situations with our roommates, but we didn't come out of freshman year best friends with our roommates. And so I think this is a common thing that just to prepare yourself for. I do know some people that were randomly assigned or picked off the Facebook and they became roommates and they are still really close friends. And so that's not to say that this won't happen with you, but I'm just saying don't set your expectations too high for being a best friends with your roommate, just because that kind of might get your expectations let down. For most of us, like I said, it is our first time living with someone. It is our first time living with a kind of random person or person we never lived with before. So it is difficult and you have to kind of navigate that and kind of deal with that. And so most of the time you won't end up being best friends. You can be very civil, which is kind of what this video is about, how to maintain a healthy, good relationship with your roommate, but not to be best friends with your roommate. This isn't titled How to Be Best Friends with Your Roommate. Okay, sorry if the angle changed or something. My SD card ran out of space while I was filming that. But anyway, long story short, I would say just don't set your expectations too high for wanting your roommate to be your new best friend for the next 4 years. I would say just be realistic and just don't go in with your expectations too high. Obviously you don't want to set your expectations too low, but you don't want to disappoint yourself like I and most people I know did going into college with our roommates. So going off of that, next kind of little piece of advice is to get involved in things that your roommate isn't involved in. So I was involved in a psychology club. One of my roommates was involved in like the band at our school. I would say just get involved in things that are different from each other. You can, number one, meet more friends there, and that way, instead of kind of only hanging out with each other and only being in the same clubs and organizations and sororities and things like that, but you can also explore your own interests as well, and you can kind of be your own person and come back to your dorm at night and be friends with your roommate and talk about your days and talk about little experiences that you had, because your day will always be different because you guys are involved in different things and probably majoring in different things and taking different classes. So I would say just do things that you aren't doing with your roommate. Do things that involve things that you like instead of just following along with other people, whether it be your suite mate, roommate, other friends at the school. Do things that you like so that you make friends off of that and don't just depend on your roommate for being your only friend. The next piece of advice, and it kind of should have been the first advice thing that I gave you, but set boundaries. So at most schools you have an RA, resident assistant, and they kind of live in your dorm and observe and are there for any issues and things like that. And during your first week of school and when you move into your dorm, they have a little meeting with you and you sign a roommate contract and abide by all these different rules and say like how comfortable you are with sharing food, with sharing clothes, with sharing shoes, with having the room clean, having the room dirty, how often you're going to clean your room, just a bunch of things like that. And just be honest when you say that. Like, if you're a dirty person and you are like, oh yeah, I'll clean the room like twice a week, or like, oh, I'll clean the room like every single night before we go to bed, let's have a clean room to wake up to in the morning. If you're a dirty person and you're saying that, just be honest. It's better to tell your roommate and tell your RA exactly how you are before you're surprising your roommate and are a really dirty person and they are actually a clean person and was honest about it, and then they're mad and you're mad that like you guys aren't getting along because some people don't like living in a dirty space. It is very hard living in a small tiny room with another person with no door to shut and no alone time really to have. This is kind of advice for just freshman year, just because that is basically the only time I believe for most people that you don't have a door to shut at the end of the day and have your own rooms. Freshman year dorms are very small, very tiny. It's a very enclosed area for people to be living in together, especially if you're living with someone for the first time. And it can be hectic and it can be crazy, like living in such a tiny space with another person and not getting any alone time. So I would say just be honest in your roommate contract and just tell them how you really are and tell them what you like, what you dislike. Don't be too wishy-washy. If you don't want your roommate borrowing your clothes, say, you know what, I'm really not comfortable with you borrowing my clothes. I like things that are mine, and that is okay, and that's not selfish. And it's better saying that stuff now during the first week, and you can kind of push past that instead of in October having your roommate borrow your coat and you're getting really mad over it because you didn't want her to borrow your clothes, but you didn't say that because you wanted to be like nice when you guys first met. So just be honest in your roommate contract. Say how you really are. Say what type of person you are. Say how you really want. If you're not sure about something, like, I'm not really sure if I want you borrowing my clothes. I'll kind of see, like, what if I want to wear that day? Or what if you're fine with it in the beginning and aren't fine with it at the end? Like, I would say just express your feelings and communicate them as you go in your roommate contract and throughout the whole semester, year living together, because it just makes things so much more easy just to communicate them as soon as you feel them. Oh, look at my puppy. Instead of getting into a fight about it later. To give a little insight, this was one of my problems with one of my roommates. She said she was very clean and she liked a clean space, and like I wasn't overly like OCD about things. Like I don't care if things are a little messy, but it got to the point where when I was moving out in the bathroom, there were like, this is a lot of information, but there were dirty pads on the floor of the bathroom. And if you can get a little hint, that's kind of why I moved out. Well, very much just a tiny part of the reason, but give a little insight. She said she was very clean, liked a clean space, liked a clean room, and that it was not clean. There were plates all over the floor, probably bugs crawling on the ground, dirtiness. And I'm like a chill person. I'm okay with the room being like half clean, half messy, but it was dirty and it was disgusting. So again, be honest. My puppy decided that she wanted to join us for the little girl talk, as you can see. But the next kind of piece of advice has to do with joining clubs that your roommate isn't in. But I would say 100%, 1000%, make friends outside of your roommate. So actually actively try to do this. Not just like, oh, I kind of made a friend, blah, blah, blah. Like, meet friends during class, meet friends during clubs, meet friends during organizations, and hang out with them without your roommate. Don't invite them every single time. Again, a little insight. One of my roommates, I had two. So I had one my first semester and I moved out because it was an unhealthy environment, and one my second semester that I ended up moving out in about the end of March of my freshman year, and then I ended up commuting for the rest of the 2 months of my freshman year of college. And my first roommate, we kind of had plans. We were like, oh, we're gonna have so much fun in college, blah, blah, blah. But then when it came down to it, she never liked to go out and have fun and do super fun things. So it got to a point where I was just asking my suite mate to hang out, and I was really close friends with one of my suite mate. And then my roommate started getting jealous when me and my suite mate hung out, because she was like jealous I was hanging out with another person instead of her. And so yeah, hang out with other people besides your roommate like very quickly in college. Like the first week, just hang out with other people, because I mean, it causes a lot of issues if the roommate is the only person that you're hanging out with, and then suddenly you're not hanging out with her or him or something like that. It caused a lot of issues and like weird jealousy things, because I was like kind of tired of sitting in the dorm and not doing anything. And I used to kind of either like go home a lot just because there wasn't anything to do at school. My roommate didn't want to do anything. My suite mates went home a lot because we all kind of lived close to home, and it was kind of just very boring. And then when I did eventually do things, like I went to U of I to visit my friends one time, and then one weekend my boyfriend and I went to Six Flags. My roommate got like jealous over that I was doing fun things, and I was like, you could do that too. So yeah, I would say initially start doing things without your roommate off the bat. Obviously do things with them, have fun with them, do roommate bonding things, but I would say hang out without them. It's okay to hang out without them and not invite them to everything. And when me and my suite mate started getting really close, that's when my roommate kind of started making problems with me and kind of being jealous, just because I don't really know if she didn't feel involved. We always invited her to do things, but she would either say no or whatever. And so I would say just like start hanging out without your roommate and with other groups of friends and with other people right away. Also hang out with your roommate, but don't have the roommate be the only person that you hang out with and spend any time with, because then when you don't, it just suddenly becomes a problem that isn't really a problem, and it shouldn't have to be a problem, if you feel me. So I think that is going to be the end of the video. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I really don't have like a set thing that I wanted to say for this. It was kind of just coming out to you guys as I thought of things, and my puppy has been appearing on and off the whole entire video. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you guys advice on kind of like 3 or 4 things that you don't really think of while going into college and going into having a roommate. A lot of people just go in with the idea of your roommate being your best friend, but you need to obviously have a life and things and friends and activities and things you do outside of just being with your roommate in that small tiny dorm. And a lot of things that would prevent a fight or a disagreement later on that could potentially make or break the relationship between you and your roommate. So I kind of just wanted to give you guys a little advice, because things that I've had trouble with, I want to give advice so you guys won't have the same troubles and problems with. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a like, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it so much, and I will see you in the next one. Subscribe for more back to school content. Bye!